Welcome to Breaking the Silence, the podcast where real conversations meet real healing. We're your hosts, Raynea and Kelli, two women who know what it's like to walk through loss, face hard truths, and come out stronger on the other side. Together, we're breaking down walls, sharing stories, and talking openly about everything from grief and healing to love, faith, and relationships. This is a safe space for laughter, honesty, and those Me Too moments that remind us we're not alone. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and let's journey through life together. Welcome to Breaking the Silence. Before we jump into today's conversation, I want to pause for just a moment and set the tone for this month. February can bring up a lot: love, loss, longing, and sometimes patterns you wish you didn't recognize quite so fast. This month on the podcast, we're going to be talking about attachment, love, and emotional safety. Not in a clinical way, and definitely not in a fix yourself way. More like real life. The kind of conversation you have after your kids go to bed, or on a long drive when you finally stop distracting yourself. So many of us learned, without ever being told, that love is supposed to feel intense, even uncertain, maybe even a little anxiety producing. Sort of like if it feels calm, you might think, wait, is this okay? Or maybe even, this feels boring. But what if love doesn't actually have to feel that way? What if peace isn't a red flag and consistency isn't boring? If this season of your life has you questioning your relationships, your patterns, or even your own heart, you're in the right place. You don't need answers yet, and you don't need clarity yet. Just listen. Let this month meet you right where you are. And with that, let's jump to it. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to Breaking the Silence. I'm Raynea.
And I'm Kelli.
And today we're talking about something that comes up all the time in my DMs, in coaching conversations, in quiet moments where people are thinking, why does this keep happening? And we're talking about the anxious avoidant dance.
Which honestly sounds like a real workout.
Exactly. And before we even start, I want to say this clearly. This episode is not about diagnosing you. It's not about labeling you. And it's definitely not about blaming yourself. It's about naming a pattern so you can finally stop thinking you're the problem. So, if you've ever felt like the more you lean in, the more someone pulls away, or the moment you take space, someone panics, you're not crazy.
And you're definitely not, quote unquote, too much. And you're not emotionally broken.
Right? Most of us were never taught how to feel safe in connection. So we learned strategies instead. Let's say this is in like really just basic human language. Anxious attachment often sounds like, are we okay? Why haven't they responded? Or maybe even something like, did I do something wrong?
Yeah, and I think avoidant attachment usually sounds kind of like, I just need space.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like too much. Why does everything have to be a whole conversation? And one of my favorites was, why do we have to put a label on this?
Yes. And here's the part that matters. Both are trying to feel safe.
And then just kind of like use an opposite, like survival strategies.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like one moves toward connection to regulate, and the other one moves away from connection to regulate. And when those two meet, misunderstanding happens fast. So, like, they're both trying to regulate just in different ways.
Hmm.
And that's where the misunderstanding then happens. So, let's talk about where this shows up the most. Typically, it's texting.
The modern attachment test.
Yes. So think about it. An anxious partner sends a message, minutes pass, and then maybe some more minutes. And suddenly the nervous system is like, we are not okay.
Mm. One of the worst feelings. So meanwhile, the avoidant partner is thinking, I saw it. I just don't have the energy to respond right now.
Mm. And that part matters because not responding isn't always avoidance. Sometimes it's capacity. Like, neither person is trying to hurt the other, but both end up feeling unseen. Same thing with conflict.
Exactly. So one wants to talk now, the other needs time to breathe. But the one that needs to talk now, if they don't get that, that's why I think when their nervous system just kind of goes all out of whack.
Yeah, I think so too. And I also think like, well, and we've talked about this before. I do think it's important if they can try to see each other that needing that time to just breathe and process. Again, it comes back
Mhm.
to that capacity issue. Like, they just need some time to breathe through it. And
Mhm.
so, one thing, like one thing's talking brings closeness, and the other thing's space brings safety. And the problem is that instead of meeting in the middle, they end up missing each other. And there's nothing wrong with wanting closeness, and there's nothing wrong with needing space either.
Right. The problem isn't the need, it's just when we don't understand our own patterns. And I think communication.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think that's in it's the yeah, not noticing our own patterns, and then
Hmm.
that creates that misunderstanding that we're talking about. So, like with the anxious folks, they start believing I'm too needy.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side of it, on the other side of the coin, the avoidant folks start believing I'm bad at relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one is true.
So the one that thinks they're bad in relationships, they just kind of want to remove themselves so it's not so hard. And then the other person, you've said this before, which is so true. That's when I think we just start making up stories without
Mhm.
that communication.
And I think, I mean, honestly, I really think in a way they're both making up stories because like how
Mm-hmm.
the anxious one is thinking I'm too needy, which isn't the truth. They're not too
Mm-hmm.
much, they're not too needy. The
Right.
avoidant is also creating that story of I'm bad at relationships, I don't know how to do
Mm-hmm.
this. And they can even think like they're too much in some ways, like I don't even
Right.
know how to do this. This is too hard for me or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it's really important to understand that neither one of those are true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I want to name something honestly here because this is true for both of us. Um, a lot of people don't fit neatly into anxious or avoidant.
Right. Yeah, because I think a lot of times some of us are both.
Hmm. So, fearful avoidant often looks like this: I want closeness and I get overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm. Also, you want to be connected, but your nervous system just hits a wall.
Exactly. So I'll say this personally. I I lean much more secure now than I used to. Um, but there are still moments when it shows up. Um, like not having the energy to text back right away, even when I care deeply, like sometimes
Mhm.
I just don't have the capacity right then.
Right.
um, and sometimes you can just feel tapped out, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean I'm pulling away. It means I'm listening to my body. And so I think that's sort of important when we can listen to ourselves and say, I need a little bit of space right now.
Mm-hmm. Don't you? I was thinking about that. I think of this in terms of relationships, but I think also friendships, because there's a lot of times I'll receive a text and I instantly want to text back just to not keep that person waiting.
Hmm.
But it seems kind of overwhelming to get my thoughts together to send back like a thoughtful response. So if I wait, then part of me feels guilty because I
Hmm.
feel like I don't want that person feeling anxious on the other side. But
Yeah. And I think that's important to talk about that right there. Like, it's okay to not have to respond to people right away. Like, say I read a message. I mean, same thing. Like, if I read it
Mhm,
and I just don't have it within me right at that moment to give it the kind of response that it maybe deserves or whatever, that's okay
mhm,
that I don't respond right then. It's not life or death. The building
right.
isn't going to, the house is on fire or something.
Hmm.
There are definitely some that we need to respond to immediately. But I
Hmm.
don't think that there's anything wrong with the fact that people do not have um, access to us emotionally emotionally, physically, whatever, access to us all the time. That is
Hmm.
okay. Some of that is healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
So, uh,
So back that earned security, that kind of just like struck something with me because it makes me think about you and I, or even another friend that just like popped in my head. If you and I don't text each other back, I don't feel anxious or nervous and so I guess that's kind of the earned security. Like I know you and I are good. I don't think you're going to be offended. My other friends the same way. Like we can be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe it's been a week since I text you back. I saw it. I got busy, and I don't feel anxious or was she mad at me or And maybe because with your friendship and my friendship with her and others, but you two are the ones that just popped in my head. I'm like, I think that's because I just feel so secure within your friendships.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Like, for example, perfect example is last night. Like, I send you a funny emoji and
Hmm.
I don't hear from you. Like, it never even crossed my mind, like, oh my gosh, why didn't she not respond to my funny emoji? Like, I totally forgot about it until this
Uh-huh.
morning when I went to text you good morning.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, then you responded to it. And I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Like, that's secure in our friendship of
Hmm.
like, life happens. Like, we don't have to continually just immediately respond. Uh,
Hmm.
so, and I think that, yeah, it's important to notice when we feel like we need to or we feel guilty, then that's
Hmm.
where we need to like take a deep breath and honor ourselves, like
Hmm.
not overgive to people. We have to
Right.
acknowledge, like, hey, like, I'm just not in a place right now that I can really give this a good response, but I will get back to it. And that's okay. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Texting and all this stuff, that does not mean you have constant, immediate access to me all of a sudden,
Hmm. Yeah.
So, what happened to the days where we would call and have to leave a voicemail and wait for somebody to call us back?
Yeah, my sister and I talk about that. We're both like, don't leave me a voicemail because A, I'm probably never going to read it or listen to it, and you're never going to get a response. So,
Well, you know what I mean? Like when we used to have answer machines and stuff back in the
right,
day.
right.
And that
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
only way.
that's true.
You were checking your answer machines then. Like, who called? So, anyways, so when things get like here, I want to give you some things that can help even like anchoring yourself. Like, so when things do feel confusing, here are even a few questions that you can gently come back to, not to fix yourself, just to notice. And so, one question you can ask yourself is, what am I carrying that God never asked me to hold?
Mm,
That's one. Another one, where am I abandoning myself to keep someone else comfortable? And the last one, and I love this one, what would it look like to feel safe with myself again?
mm,
So there's no pressure there, no rush, just curiosity.
mm,
If this episode stirred something in you, take a breath. You don't need to solve your relationship today. You don't need to label yourself. And you also don't need to explain your nervous system to anyone tonight.
mm. Yeah, you're allowed to go slow and honor yourself.
Mm, yeah, we're not rushing. We're not proving. We're healing. That is why we are here. We're healing. And healing doesn't mean never getting triggered again. It means meeting yourself with compassion when you do. You are not broken. You are learning safety.
Mm. And we are so incredibly glad that you're here with us.
Mm. All right, friends, we send you off with so much love. And I do ask that if this If you found any value in this episode, that you share it with a friend, that you subscribe. That helps us to reach more people and to make a bigger impact. And that is what this is all about. So again, we send you off with so much love, and we will talk with you next time. Thank you for spending time with us on Breaking the Silence. We hope today's conversation brought you comfort, hope, and maybe even a little laughter. Because healing doesn't have to happen alone. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might need it too. And be sure to subscribe so that you do not miss a moment with Kelli and I. Until next time, remember, you're not alone, and there's always space for you here.